Hey guys, it's Mike, Super 64. CNC Man and myself were talking about what we could try with a different tail rotor blade. As you can see, I took a Honeybee V2 blade, trimmed it down about 3/4 of an inch on each side. The hole for the blade is a lot larger than the shaft on either one of the helicopters. So I ended up taking some thread, I don't know if you can see it, some thread, and wrapping it around the inside of the shaft and putting some super glue on it. I pressed the blade on and then I super glued the front side of it as well. It's dry right now, so let's say we give this thing a whirl and see what it'll do. I tried it earlier with a full-size blade and I just tore the shit out of this other one. As you can see, it jumped up and it hit the fuselage on this one, cracked the fuselage all up. Lesson learned. Let's see. Desert. Okay.
Don't, and don't.
Give me a minute, guys. I'm trying to help stay everything plugged in right, or set up right. The CNC Man, if this works, you're going to be a millionaire. I have to imagine that the gain is going to need adjustment once we get it, if we find out it works. You know, because that blade is a lot bigger than the other blades. Even though there's only 2 of them as opposed to 3, it's still much wider. So I imagine it's going to want to push the tail left. Now it's working on the ground. Spinning. In the air, I gotta put a lot of right stick into it. It's working well, and you can feel the air coming off of it. Wow. A lot less movement with the rudder stick to get the tail where you want it to go. A lot less. Yeah, it's working. Let's do some flying with it and see what happens. Don't mind the mess, guys. The kids are hanging. They're doing chores. There might be a little bit of a balance issue. I balanced it out like a set of lawnmower blades. You know, just stuck it on a screwdriver and balanced it out as best I could. It seems to be working pretty good. Oh, shit. Man, is that tail sensitive now. Real sensitive. Ain't gotta put in half the stick that I used to get it to do the same thing.
You feel the wind.
I don't know why. It may be just me, or maybe my battery's not all that strong right now, but it seems like now it pulls more away from the main motor when you're turning. Well, there it is, guys. We can thank CNC for the blade puller. Now I have to make up another one for the honeybee blades. But it definitely does work. Like I said, I trimmed each side down. My little fat fingers. Like I said, I trimmed each side down from the end of the honeybee blade 0.0625 inches, not millimeters, inches, 625 inches. Gonna have to come up with a little something better to hold the blade on, I'm sure, because you're not gonna want to super glue it on every time. Maybe a piece of heat shrink you could put on the front of it. Yeah, you could probably do that. Put a piece of tubing, heat shrink tubing on the front and shrink it down in front of the blade. It should be alright. Well, there it is, fellas. I cut a blade down from one of my honeybees. Oh, by the way, I was bitching about that honeybee, the tail twitching on it. I found out why when I pulled that blade off. This gear was missing teeth every so often all the way around, so when it would get to that point and I'd tell you that tail would stop for a second, that was the reason why. It hadn't gotten to a point where it could grab the good teeth again. So I don't need the motor. I'm going to try this thing out in a little bit and see how it flies since I put the new tail gear on it, and we'll go from there. Alright fellas, good job, see you soon.